Hey everybody, we're going to do CDT day 110 and 111 today. Today is 111, yesterday was 110. Sorry, I'm just getting some sodium out of my eyes from sweat. So the last video, Marty and I hiked about 29 miles after we got on that traverse where there was just absolutely no camping. And we followed that up on Monday, which was day 110, with about 25 and a half miles. And today, day 111, Tuesday, we hiked, I think, a little over 24 or somewhere around 24. What this means is tomorrow, I think we only have to hike like 5.5 miles, and then we can get a ride into Lima. So my plan is to get into Lima early tomorrow, hit the post office to get my resupply. Actually, I get new shoes and I need them. Like, my shoes are falling apart. They got holes in the tops, on the sides. They're letting rocks in. The tread on the bottom, like the rubber's gone, and I can feel rocks when I step on them. The footbed, the cushion's all gone. The heel, I think, has some of the foam gone. I have to look again. I think these shoes have done like 750 miles, and they're made for between 5 to 7. So these are the shoes I got in Steamboat, and they got through the rest of Colorado, all of Wyoming, and now they've gotten, I think it'll be close to 100 miles in Idaho, Montana. So they gave good service, but I'm looking forward to getting some new shoes in Lima tomorrow. So yesterday and today were both extremely hilly days. There's a lot of up and down, and the switchbacks actually were really nice to start out with when we got into Idaho and Montana. But as we've progressed through the state over the last 3 days, the switchbacks have turned to almost non-existent. Like today's, let's see, there were three ascents today, I think, with about 5,500 feet total of elevation gain, and a lot of that was just really steep ups. So we were climbing, kind of steep terrain, not a whole lot of switchbacks. So the word from the southbounders, because we keep passing southbounders who have now made it through most of the way through Montana and are starting to get into Wyoming, is that this border area between Idaho and Montana is pretty steep, and there's a lot of up and down, not a lot of switchbacks. So I guess the switchbacks that we had on Sunday and part of Monday are not the norm, at least for this area. Let's see. We did not get rain yesterday. I was so happy about that. And it was a warm last night. So what that meant is this morning Marty and I could just get up. We didn't have to worry about condensation. We didn't have to worry about water on our tents. We didn't have to worry about wet shoes, wet socks, any of that stuff. We could just get up, get dressed, put down our tents, put everything in the packs, and get going. So so that was nice. We also have not had rain today so far, and the skies are pretty clear, so I don't think we're going to have rain. We're actually next to a road. We're hiking on the road for a bit. I think it's like 10 or 15 miles. So we'll get some of that road walk finished. It's dirt road, but we'll get some of that finished heading into Lima, and then I'm guessing we're going to have a few more miles after Lima, and then after that we'll get on to trail again. Marty does a cool thing when he's hiking. He will find a spot that's kind of picturesque, and he'll take his phone out and he'll capture like a 15-second video, just kind of showing like, hey, this is what we're hiking, or this is the terrain, or this is the views, or whatever it is. So I gave that a go today, and I I think I took several videos, like maybe 4 or 5 of them. So I'm going to look at them and see if there's like 1 or 2 that look good. And if so, I'll post them as bonus videos for day 111. And that way you folks can kind of get a glimpse of the CDT and what we're hiking on. And the miniature videos I took were, they were different types of trail as we hiked today. So I'll see if there's 2 that are decent. Let's see what else happened. So there's the sheep experiment going on in Montana, or Idaho. I don't know. We keep crossing back and forth. And the sheep experiment is grazing sheep because sheep eat a little bit different than cows, so I think they just want to kind of check it out. And I can't remember if it was the Forest Service or the Bureau of Land Management or who it was. There's a couple of signs, and I just keep forgetting which agency is doing the sheep experiment. But there's a warning on the sign that says, hey, the sheepdogs that are guarding the sheep from wild animals, you know, they're aggressive. They're going to protect the sheep. And if you're hiking by, you know, you're going to get barked at. If you get too close, you know, the dogs are going to come over. So there was a part that I was hiking today. I was hiking down into a gulch, and I was about to start an ascent. And I didn't see any sheep. I don't think I was close to any sheep. Marty says he saw 4 ranchers on horseback, but they were a distance away when he passed that section, because Marty and I were kind of split up because I was texting with the person who owns the motel in Lima because he gives rides, and I was setting up our ride for tomorrow. And so Marty passed through there and he saw some ranchers. He didn't get barked at by any dogs. He didn't see any sheep, and he just hiked through. So when I came through, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes later, the ranchers were gone. I didn't see any ranchers. What I saw were 3 sheepdogs, and they were like far away. And I didn't see any sheep, so I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I hear some barking. And I was like, all right, well, they see me. They're just warning me like, hey, don't come close. And then, I don't know, it was like 20 seconds later, I hear barking again, and it's closer. And I was like, oh, that's odd. And I turn around, and the sheepdog are running across like this wide open space to come bark at me. They got within 20 feet of me, barking at me. There were 3 dogs. And so a couple times I turned around, I was like, you know, going back. Because I was hiking, at that point I was hiking away from wherever they were protecting, like whatever sheep they were protecting. But they were persistent. Like they stayed on me for, I don't know, good 1 or 2 minutes, like barking at me, just making sure like, hey, get the hell out of here. And I got a picture. So I'll use that as the thumbnail, hopefully for this video of, you get to see the sheepdogs barking at me to guard the sheep. So, let's see. Still haven't seen any grizzly bear. Haven't seen any black bear in Wyoming or Montana. Yeah, we saw a lot of cows today. The cows here, they're different than Wyoming and New Mexico. The cows here stand their ground. So if you're hiking on, like we were hiking on the road at the end of the day, and the cows were all over the place. And there were cows that were like 5 feet off the road, and they just stood there and watched us. And they're like, I'm not moving. It's like, okay, if you like your grass. And there was a spring to go get water, and the cows were surrounding the spring because they can also get water from a trough there. And when Marty and I were there, they just sit there and just mooed at us continuously. Like, hey, you're stealing our water. Like, what are you doing here? So it's interesting to see like different attitudes of cows. The Wyoming cows, some of them were standoffish, especially like Marty and I passed by some steers that were pretty standoffish. But these Montana, like the cows, the calves, the steers, the bulls, like all of them just stand there. And well, actually, I don't think we saw any steers, just bulls. Yeah, bulls, calves, and cows. And they just stood, most of them stood their ground. Some of them ran just like a few feet away, but like in New Mexico, they would take off like a good distance away. Wyoming, they would move off eventually, but here they're just like, nope, I have no interest in moving. So that's been interesting. Today was the first experience with the cows up here. So, all right. I think that's about it. There was I got a question from one of you folks that asked if I'm using a trekking pole, and the answer is yes. I'm using a leaky pole. It's LEKI. Some people like 2 poles. I like 1, so I use 1. My leaky pole is a carbon fiber, so it's a little bit lighter than metal, like aluminum or steel or whatever, and it's carbon fiber, so it doesn't attract lightning as much. The other question was, what are you going to do once you get to Canada? Like, are you hiking back, or, what happens once you get to Canada? The answer to that is, right now, the border crossings at Waterton and at Chief Mountain, so there's 2 options when you get to Glacier of where you end. Both of those border crossings are closed. They've been closed since COVID. They have not been reopened. That's not the Park Service decision. I think it's... Who is it? I actually don't know who has authority, if it's Border Patrol or if it's Homeland Security. It's probably Homeland Security, or maybe it's a collaboration. But basically, that agency has decided that those crossings are closed. So I will not get to cross into Canada, but the terminus, like from Mexico to the U.S. to Canada, both the Mexican terminus and the Canadian terminus are actually on U.S. soil. So I have a decision to make. If I want to go to Waterton, I got to hike about 4-ish days from East Glacier into into the backcountry, touch the terminus at Waterton, and then I think I have to hike back out. And depending on what time I get there, the shuttles may not be running, like at Mini Glacier or to Medicine or something like that. So I may have to hike another 4 days back out. So that's one thing I have to ask Glacier. Like, once I get there and I see my schedule and I see what their shuttle schedule is, I'll ask Glacier, like the rangers in the wilderness office, for help to kind of plan that out. Chief Mountain is a little bit different. You can actually do a road walk or get a hitch. That trailhead, I guess, is pretty popular. So, like, you could hike up, touch the terminus, take your picture, and then hike out to a trailhead and get a pretty easy hitch back to East Glacier. Once I get back to East Glacier, after touching whichever terminus I go for, I'll need to look at what the transportation is. It's either going to be a plane. No, well, it could be a plane, but I think it's going to be either a bus or a train out of East Glacier, and then I'll have to take that bus or train to the nearest U.S. city that has access to airplanes, and I'll probably fly back to Denver. So that is what will happen once I get to Canada. I'm not... some people will do what is known as a... what do they call it? There's a term that people use, I'm forgetting. But basically, they try to do a northbound and a southbound in the same year. And so they'll go up northbound, they'll hit the terminus, and then they'll try to do southbound and hit the terminus again. So, like, basically they go from Mexico to Canada and then Canada back to Mexico. I'm not doing that. I'm just doing one way. Oh, there was a gentleman today that Marty met. He hiked right by me, but Marty got a few words out of him. He's hiking the Great Western Loop. If you don't know what the Great Western Loop is, it starts basically at the Grand Canyon. You have to bushwhack. You make your own route from the Grand Canyon over to the PCT. And I think that section's like 700-ish miles. I'd have to double check. It's hundreds of miles. Once you get to the PCT, you hike the PCT north, and then that PCT intersects the Pacific Northwest Trail, the PNW. Also, I've seen it as PNT. Then you hike the Pacific Northwest Trail east to the Continental Divide Trail. You take the Continental Divide Trail south until it intersects the Great Enchantment Trail in New Mexico. You take the Grand Enchantment Trail. You take the Grand Enchantment Trail until it intersects the Arizona Trail. Then you take the Arizona Trail back to the Grand Canyon. It's 7,000 miles. Only 2 people have through hiked the Great Western Loop, and this guy I think is trying to become the third. He is 118 days on trail. He's more than 4,000 miles in, and he's averaging 40 miles a day. So he's got a really good shot because he's already done the bushwhack, he's already done the PCT, the PNW or PNT, and he's already getting close to 1,000 miles on the CDT. So he's just got to finish not all of the CDT, but he's got to finish a big chunk of the CDT and then jump over to the GET and then the AZT. So that was a little bit of an interesting past today of seeing somebody actually trying the Great Western Loop. Man, it's amazing. Trying to finish a through hike on that in 1 year is just absolutely amazing. So I think it was identified in the 1990s, and since then only 2 people have finished, and this guy may try to be the third. 2 people that I know of, and this guy might be the third. So good luck to him. Anywhoosie, all right, I'm gonna go cook dinner and eat. I've already filtered water, set up tent, and all that stuff. So everyone have a nice evening. I hope everyone's staying healthy and happy, and I'll talk to y'all excuse me, I'll talk to y'all later.